posting. You're speaking. You're doing everything they told you would grow your business. So why is it not converting? Because visibility is only half the equation. Getting attention is easy. Turning that attention into clients takes strategy. VoiceLab was built to solve that. This is where front-end visibility meets back-end conversion. You learn how to get on stages, create your own platforms, and use podcasts, summits, and workshops to grow your audience and generate real leads. Then you learn what most people never build. A system that captures those leads, follows up, nurtures relationships, and turns interest into revenue. Email and newsletter strategy that actually gets responses. Workflows, not just more noise. Real connection that leads to real business. Inside VoiceLab, you are not guessing. You're learning the how. You're implementing in real time. You're building a business that works even when you are not constantly chasing attention. Because here's the truth. If you don't have visibility, no one knows you exist. If you don't have systems, nothing converts. VoiceLab gives you both, so you can stop performing for attention and start building momentum that pays you back. If you are ready to grow your authority, expand your reach, and finally turn visibility into income, join the VoiceLab. Scan the QR code, join VoiceLab Group on the School platform, and build the business that actually works.
Digital Speaker Agent will catch 5 speaker opportunities, bring them back, and help you submit each one in under 10 minutes. You can go from opportunity to submitted in 7 clicks. Here's how. Click 1, open today's opportunities. Click 2, accept an opportunity. 3, confirm acceptance. 4, open your pipeline. 5, open the event website and submission info. Click 6, activate the stage and custom Chrome extension. 7, review and submit. That's 5 done for you speaker submissions in under an hour. Click the QR code for your free 7-day trial.
Welcome to a world of unforgettable experiences and immersive marketing. Transform your events into extraordinary moments that captivate your audience. Whether it's corporate gatherings, product launches, or community celebrations, our immersive marketing solutions elevate your events to new heights. Immerse your attendees in a world of audio books and podcasts tailored to your brand. Engage their senses and leave a lasting impression. Explore the power of storytelling with our curated podcast content. From insightful discussions to entertaining narratives, we've got the perfect audio experience for your event. Ready to make your next event unforgettable? Scan the QR code now and book a complimentary immersive marketing call with our experts. Let's create memories together. Elevate your events with immersive marketing. Scan the code and let the magic begin.
All right. Good morning and welcome back to another fabulous episode of the Pain Point Podcast. And I'm your hostess with the mostest. I'm Nicole Borghi, and I'm coming at you live from an undisclosed bunker in the Ozarks. Hey, where are you at today? Mentally, physically, emotionally? Have you checked in with yourself? I don't know. I do it every morning. Make sure that I get it done before I get on the live. That's the best way to start your day. But you know what, friends, if you're still feeling like the internet's best kept secret and you're bumping and grinding, I'm Nicole Borghi, and I fix that for you with events and stages that build your authority and lead the revenue. And you know what? I always ask my clients, the question is what's the revenue that you've left on the table? Because there's streams of income we can make, but we make it so hard. Let's make it simple. And that is what the Voice Lab is all about. So as a member in the Voice Lab, it's for entrepreneurs to turn that visibility into income and leverage the stage as a marketing machine. Whether you're a speaker, you're a trained speaker, a seasoned speaker, maybe you just come out of corporate America. Maybe you're in that Toastmasters world and you want to level it up a little bit. You want to get to be a paid speaker. The best way to start is somewhere like this on a podcast. And that's what we've got going on today. Let's see. More of what we got going on today is, hey, just reach out, my friends. We can have a simple, easy conversation. I love, giving some tips and some blueprints. I've got a workshop coming up, so I want to share that information. What do we got coming up? So do support. We've got some new sponsors coming up and some support I want to get out there. So I'm going to change a little bit of the show. We're going to have some more sponsors come in here. We're going to have these great guests come out here. I really want to push the visibility for them. So if you're just coming on the podcast, you'll be able to get a sponsorship part and people can support you. So what do we have coming up? So let's get the housekeeping out of the way so we can get right to the podcast, the meat and potatoes, without having to go back and forth and stop everything. I don't want to stop that. We'll bring my great guest Edwin on in just a second. So what we have going on next week is Pay Yourself Like a CEO, and it's a masterclass with Shannon Simmons, and I have the information in the chat. She is the financial fitness guru there, and it's a power pack masterclass with Shannon Simmons, the founder of Fit for Profit and Mastery Level Profit First Professional. And I can say that 5 times fast, right? Good thing I had my coffee. And we're going to talk about that profit first and paying yourself. That's what's important about being in business for yourself, is you should be paying yourself, and there's a way to do it. We've also got 10x your visibility on LinkedIn. That's with Summer Diaz Silva, and she's going to teach you how to really leverage LinkedIn, right? And it's actually starting conversations, not just with posting parties, not just the boring LinkedIn rhetoric, right? It's really how to stand out and create the post and write the content and have those conversations, right? Not overwhelming people with what you've got going on, but enticing that engagement and keeping it going. The next thing we've got going on is we've got the second class. That's it. We've had such a great feedback, such great reception with the digital speaker agent and doing the monetize your microphone. That's with Glenn Friesman. Everything here, all the links are in LinkedIn. I'm going to put the links in the chat. And this is all about getting paid to speak. So if you really, really, really want to be a paid speaker, I hear it all the time. Hey, Nicole, I want to get paid to speak. What am I paying for stages? You got to pay for the marketing. So look at it, if you were going to put out a commercial for your products and service, why not you come on the stage and be the brand of your business? People want to get to know you, right? So if you want to 10x that visibility, you want to find out more about the Digital Speaker Agent app. It's great. I was using it last night. It fills out all your information. It takes your Myers-Briggs. It takes your personality. It takes a bit of your audio, some part of your video. And why is this great? Because you don't have to do all the thinking. You can rearrange a few things if you want. You can edit all to your heart's desire. But once it's got your personality and you and your vibe, the machine is going to go out there and fix everything for you. So you could choose the topics, the subjects, where you want to speak, and you can play with it a little bit more. And then you send it out to the Weberverse. You're going on to their website. And if you use the extension on Chrome, it fills out all this stuff for you. So all the goodies, even if you can't get that pre-filled because of the way that they have their website set up. So when you're applying to the event, all this stuff has been populated for you in an event package. This is so extraordinary. It does a thing. It's intuitive. The tech is catching up to us, and you can get paid to speak. You can charge what you need to charge for your stage, and that's virtual and live in person. So why not travel, take a trip, and speak on a stage? So let's get to it. So I'm going to introduce my friend here, Edwin. I am glad to bring you up. So Edwin, we're going to have a great talk today because we want to talk about dreams and the realization of, closing that 18-inch gap and knowing what you want and actually doing something about it. So we've got some great questions, but Edwin, go ahead and tell the audience about you and what you do.
Thank you for having me, Nicole. My name is Edwin Soler, and I'm a dream realization partner. And I help professionals that are uncovering their beliefs that have them stuck in unfulfilling lives to finally take that one step, that one courageous step to take the action and to live a life of their choosing, having lived that myself.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, that's great. So, how did you start on this journey? here, coming in here, and you're like, hey, I just want to live my life, the life that
Yeah.
I want to live. What's going on here? If people just really rip that band-aid off and they feel stuck, or they have just gotten comfortable telling themselves it's really good, I'm okay, and your life is boring, you've got nothing going on, and you're waiting for somebody to shake you and wake you up. Tony Robbins isn't coming in your house. He's not putting the headset up like on Back to Future and playing the rock and roll and getting you shaken up. So what do we have to do if we rip that band-aid off and really get in there and get this going?
So it's interesting, Nicole. Well, it's interesting to point out, first of all, every journey is different. So sometimes we're thinking like the one size fits all, how things happen. So in my case, I discovered coaching in my 40s. I was working at a career in law enforcement for many years, but it just was a very unfulfilling. And I knew there was something, had to be something bigger in me. There was something bigger, and I discovered coaching. I discovered Dan Miller. The whole 18-inch gap was an idea that I had many years ago. Something else I heard. So I put it all together. So while still at my job, I wrote my first book, Closing the 18-Inch Gap. The 18 inches are the 18 inches between your heart and your mind. Your heart has all these desires, these dreams, things you want to do, but your mind is always working against you, limiting beliefs and all these other things that I've gone through in life myself, just a tremendous abuse and so many other things, abandonment. And I decided to write a book, which is right behind me here on the shelf right there in the corner. And behind my shoulder, I'll show it a little bit later. And it's called Closing the 18-Inch Gap. But here's what happened, Nicole. 3 months after that book was published, over a 90-second disagreement, I lost a career of 27 years. That's how my Band-Aid got ripped off. It was not, I had all this thinking and planning, I want to do this, I need to get out of debt, this and that, and third. And that one fateful day, within 90 seconds, I was out of a job, no savings, no insurance. And that's how I kind of just, not more than just ripping a Band-Aid, I got pushed off the cliff. And I had to just really get it going and do something about it. So it wasn't easy, but I just had enough something we can talk about, community and the wherewithal, what have you, to start putting that together and just get on this amazing journey over 3 years later of just building what I'm doing, building a life of my own choosing and fulfilling. So whether it's some people get the plan and things go well, some people just like me, it's like, hey, it happens out of nowhere and here we go. But either way, life has a way of working out, and you just have to be courageous enough to know I can do this. And if you don't have the people around you, find them. That's one thing I can really say that I'm happy I had a community around me unexpectedly that I was able to rely on when this unexpected event happened.
And that's great because you want to have that community, right? You need the community around you. And that's always good to have the support. And it's weird. I know we talked, I had the same thing happen. I had a 20+ year career, and then it was 2020 and the world fell apart. My family fell apart. So I had to reboot, and I was trying to slowly get out and learn how to do entrepreneurship, save up some money and say, hey, let me just kind of, slowly saunter into what's going on and start to understand. And then it was like, boom, there I am. I have to get into this and still figuring it out. There's so much that people don't necessarily tell you. But when you were able to do that and move forward and say, hey, here I am, because the universe said, well, you just got to do it, right? Rip that Band-Aid off, and there you go. You should understand how to first aid and get that kid out. And good thing people are there, because a lot of times we stay with partners in pain, right? Even in business, sometimes you want those people that are just kind of doing the golf clap and they're supporting you, but you really need somebody to tell you the truth, but not somebody to just be like, yeah, I want to wallow in the misery for you because I'm comfortable here. Why are we comfortable there? I have no idea. I don't think that people are necessarily comfortable there. I just think they understand it. And then, what's that change? So what's the biggest excuse for people that you hear, every day? I'm being responsible, but sometimes it can be more of an excuse when you're an entrepreneur. You wrote the book on this. It's like, look, here I am. Here's what the world has thrown at me, but here's how I can show up and be seen and talk on a podcast, because people hold on to it. We see it a lot more and more. Unfortunately, people are filming themselves every day, having a breakdown and getting triggered. But it's like, you can't, who's going to buy from you? If you're having a breakdown and you're getting triggered, is that audience going to trust that the product's good? Is the audience going to trust that you're showing up for them, whether you're a coach, a consultant, or you're selling a product? If you're an energy person, what energy are you putting into that product? And sending that out there and kind of repeating that. So what's the best way to look at it? Is this truly I'm being responsible, or is this truly I'm just not taking the next step?
Yeah, so you made some really good points there. So the first thing I would say to answer your question, what's the biggest excuse? I think one of the biggest ones that we all tell ourselves is, I will do it tomorrow. And I always say, today was yesterday's tomorrow. So tomorrow always shows up the next day. So one is, you got to get off the someday and just start today. That's the first thing. Just make a decision, make a plan. It's been proven that if you can get it out of your heart and put it on paper, it's been proven that scientifically, you write something down, write a plan down, write your dream out on a piece of paper, you're already about 45% more likely to complete that than you will of just letting it float in your head. Just procrastination is really an excuse. It can be an excuse of oh, I'm not ready yet, but well, yeah, I think we are more ready. I've been working with a coach now for well over 2 years, and this has been instrumental, because she got me right in my journey, right at the bottom of where I was struggling with all this going on, but I just knew there was something that needed to happen. And I finally there's something that drew me to her immediately, that I said, you know what, this is a key person that I can work with. And I made that plan to just, no, maybe someday, not someday. I said today. I signed up with her, been working with her now for over 2 years, and she has seen my journey of where I've gone with her help, and other people's help, of just growing and growing. So it's a matter of just taking action. You're not gonna, it's like, it's true. In my book I wrote, Rome wasn't built in a day, which is true, but it was almost destroyed in a day, which is also very true, because historically that did happen. And it's really just not being in the fear of, well, what if all this work gets destroyed or whatever. You build something on a strong foundation, you got to get started somewhere, and just know you're going to make mistakes. No, it's not going to be perfect. You got to begin, like they say, with the end in mind. What do you want? Work your way backwards. But here's what people won't tell you, Nicole, is what you envision starting out with may not look like anything what it will end up looking like. It may look totally different. But the beauty of it is it'll look even better. And it'll look exactly what it needs to look like as it evolves. We got to stop the excuses of procrastinating and saying, well, tomorrow when I figure this out, or when I have the money. You don't need money. There's so many free resources out there to get out there and get started. It's just a matter of just getting started and really having the motivation to go. And when you talked about emotions, it's very, very true. Because, energy and emotions, they follow each other. So where your emotions are is where energy is going to go. Yeah, you're having a hard day. We all have hard days. But it's always like looking for the gratitude and the good things in everything. And there's always something good to think about and to be grateful for. To really just pull ourselves up and say, you know what? Yeah, this is bad. But hey, I'm here. I'm alive. I'm free. I have opportunities. Let's make the most of it. So that's what I would say about that.
Well, 100%, because if we look at it, if we start to look at, okay, here's my goal and here's what's happening in my life, and without putting a square peg in a round hole to make it fit, is part of it your journey into, can you really look 5 steps ahead of yourself and say, this is actually good for this business. This is actually good for me. Maybe this relationship isn't business oriented. Maybe it's better as a friend, or vice versa. Maybe you've got something, maybe you got a check for a refund or a rebate from PayPal. It's $2, or you got $50, or, you got something extra. I mean, the other day I got an order from Amazon, and Amazon had put that it didn't ship or wasn't delivered, but I had gotten the product, and then the product was delivered again. Well, since I'm in the middle of nowhere, they're not coming here to pick that back up. And I'm so thankful for having it. It's the coolest thing. And I've tried before to send stuff back to Amazon. They won't pick it up because it costs more for them to come out, pick it up, return it, da-di-da-di-da-di, give the money back, all the other cool stuff. They won't even answer the phone. So you can't get anybody. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you, universe. You've given me something else. So how are you looking at it, right?
Yeah.
How are you doing this? What are we doing that's actually acceptable? But don't fool yourself. Don't put the rose-colored glasses on and say everything happens for a reason. It's so great. Because it's not. It may be the universe tell you you're slipping up again and you're doing the same, pulling the same shenanigans and you need to stop. So look at really what's going on so you don't continue in that cycle and stay in that mud. But let's see, when someone says, let's look at this for speakers. So my clients are speakers, they're entrepreneurs, but they want to get on the stage. They're speaking, they're getting on the stage. So for the clients that are doing this, you got to get rid of those triggers so you could be on the stage because you want the audience to transform and you want to take some type of movement, whether that's a call to action to go do a cool thing in the community and do a little community outreach to save a tree, or maybe your call to action is, hey, buy my cool products, get my coaching. You're selling from the stage. You've paid money. You're coming to the stage to sell something. That's why people are there, right? I have a networking group that I work with, and we come and sell to each other because we're all there in agreement. People want to buy something. If you've got something cool, you can sell and then you buy from them. So we're doing the barter. We're supporting one another. So it's not an icky thing. It's a great thing because we all need to make money. So when people are talking and they're speaking and they're selling the products, if they stay in their emotions, people are going to feel that.
Yes.
Going to feel that because you're rejecting yourselves, then you're rejecting the audience and the audience feels kind of rejected from you. So when people are coming and they're looking at it like, hey, can I really bring it to this podcast? Or am I dragging my feet here? What's that mindset that says, hey, I've got this dream, I've got this goal, I've got to get on the camera and I want to eventually maybe speak or be the top person, the top seller of my product. Maybe they're in an MLM, they got to talk to people. How do you get to that bonus where you could take your family to Disneyland? What does that look like for somebody to actually show up?
So it's really interesting, if I may. So we met in a community, the Speakers Playhouse is where we met, Nicole. And I don't know if you know or not, Donna Ricardo is also in that community that we're all in. And Donna Ricardo is a speaking coach. She was she was the very first person I was able to interview for my podcast. And she said something that's very interesting because you said about speaking, and it just goes perfectly with the whole big picture of what we're talking about. So whether it's speaking or anything else that we're doing, she always said, as a speaker, and this fits perfectly for what we're talking about. She said, as a speaker, you cannot speak of something you're necessarily going through in the moment. You have to have lived it already and be able to talk about that experience. So that's what I call about closing that 18-inch gap, that 18 inches between your heart and your mind. This is experience I'm going through. This is my heart, my emotions. How can I close this gap? What mindset do I need? What can I learn from this? What am I grateful for? All these things have to go through. So a big mistake that people make, and I love how you use the universe. Some people don't like that word, but I love that word because it could be to whatever you fits your belief system or where you're in or where you are. So yes, the universe will constantly be reminding you and nudging you. It's a matter of whether you want to listen to it or not and respond. So including that gap, a big mistake that some people want to make is they want to rush the process. One thing that my coach drilled into my head is trust the journey, trust where you are right now. You can't get ahead of yourself. I always say you can't necessarily always make your success come faster than it's going to show up, but you can certainly delay it. So working with what we have right now, that energy, those things that we're going through, and you're saying, I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm okay, I'm safe, and I'm going to get through this, and I'm learning from this, and how can I then help this propel me forward? So it's working with where you are, what you have in the moment. And I love the whole idea of a light. I use the analogy of driving at night. So if you're driving at night and you turn those headlights on, say I'm going to go to the airport's like an hour from my house. Then this is an illustration I actually learned from a pastor. He says, I asked him, how did you get to your journey? How do you know where you are, where you're going when you're there. And he's like, Edwin, when I go to the airport at night and I turn my headlights on, the headlights don't shine from where I am all the way to the airport. The headlights only show me just enough for me to get to where I need to go within that moment. But once I reach that point in that moment, the headlights are just further up ahead enough to see further ahead to keep going. So that's just really the big picture. You can look at the big picture, but when you tackle the big picture, it's going to be very, very difficult, if not impossible. Look at it as a headlight. I only need these 5 steps that you mentioned. The first 5 steps, what do I need to get these first 5 steps? Well, what's beyond that? It'll appear, it'll show up, it'll clear when you get there. Perhaps even before that, by the time you're on step 3, the next 4 or 5 are going to start showing up and be getting more clear. But it's having the patience and the time to go step by step and really just daily actions, and just put your mind to it. And like I keep saying, not procrastinate and say, oh, tomorrow or someday. Today's a day to get started with whatever that looks like, and trust the journey in the process, and just be able to go along.
Well, that's great, because you really need to get out there. And if you're putting that goal out there, you have to take action. And action is actually moving. Momentum. It loves momentum, right? You want the change. You're forcing the change by moving. And movement is medicine. It's meditation. It's part of what we need to do. If you're just sitting there worried about, oh my gosh, and your monkey mind's bouncing around and you're comparing yourself to everybody, you need to make some comparison in business, because you need to know where you're at compared to someone else so you can grow. But if you're doing it 24/7 and you're constantly comparing yourself in a bad way, people are renting space in your head. Don't let them rent the space, right? It should cost them some money to have that magic that you've got going in there. What are you doing? And just, stop it, get out there. If you get some exercise, and get out of the house, actually step outside, go to a gym, do some movement, move into a different room. That will change the dynamic, because atoms are changing all the time, right? So that's science. Atoms change as you change, the energy changes. So you're forcing the change. And those 7-year-old cells, those new ones that are populating, right? They're constantly splitting apart. And the cells in your body, when they're regenerating, you have to have that movement, because if you're doing the same thing, those cells won't regenerate, so you can change. You're actually forcing your DNA to change at the cellular, molecular level of your body if you're doing that. Because if your cells are trying to separate and regenerate and you're just doing the same thing, you're sitting on the couch and you're eating your bonbons, those cells won't reproduce. But if you want that to change, you've got to force it. You've got to put some movement into it. So we know that people are making the excuses. They've got this and that going on all the time. When we're doing this and people are looking at this, we know that they're getting triggered and they're going out there. But entrepreneurs love to learn. They love to learn. They want something new. They want something shiny. But I think part of it is why people stop doing the courses and the classes, and they're like, hey, I'm my coach. There's no change. We haven't had any movement. I think it's because people are sharing the same thing. There's so much out there, not that they're stealing it, but if everybody's learned from Tony Robbins, if everybody's learned from this coach or that coach, and somebody's like, hey, I've got this coach. Okay, that's fine. That's great. You got Bob Proctor. Fantastic. Jim Rohn. Fantastic. Jim's going to tell you, get up and move and do something. That's great. You've got the basis. But if everybody's, come down from Napoleon Hill and they're sharing that same, spitting that same information out, you're just getting the same thing all the time. The delivery needs to be something else. We know you have a great coach. Fine. That's wonderful. That's not necessarily what people are looking for. They're not looking for your certificates. So if they ask you because they are looking for a particular outcome or a tone and style that you're going to teach, that's one thing that you go through in the assessment. The other thing is that when you do this, like I love Donna. I've had her on my podcast. I've had her in my summits. She's just a ball of energy. I love her.
yeah.
She does talk about that lived experience. And that's great. When you say that and you talk about that, you're talking about why it's important. And we need to get deeper into that critical thought of why is it important, not just name drop the coach, but what was the story for you? And as a stage host, we need to get deeper into these stories of why you need that change. We stop right here. You know, a lot of those self-helps, we get the next book, we get the next thing, and everybody's basically saying the same thing. And I'm like, man, I want to go to your workshop. I want to support you, but you're just spitting out the same information. And if you're detailing what that person doesn't say, how does it reflect you? How are you? What are you doing for your clients? People aren't paying you for the information because the information's out there in the Webernet of things. They're paying for the implementation. They're paying for your vibe. They're paying for what you've gone through. And that's what moves people forward. This is why people are getting so bored with a webinar, right? Oh, it's great advertisement. Who's going to sit there for an hour at a specific time? I see all these webinars on YouTube because I want to see what people are doing, how they're doing, how webinars and workshops are changing. People want live. They want you. So if they're watching your video, you can cut it into parts and snippets. But if you're just rinsing and repeating the same thing over and over and you have no character, no story, people will stop watching it. And if you're forcing people into here's this great thing, and then you're not interacting with them, they're not coming to a master class, there's no one-to-one calls on, hey, how is this information relevant to you? We have to get deeper into that. And that's what people are looking for. So when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, it's like, hey, I've got this thing. Okay, you're working on it. And you mentioned that, right? You know, the someday, I'll get to it someday. It's not a day of the week. I think we eliminated the 8th day somewhere and we still haven't gotten up, right? We got rid of the 13th month. We need to get rid of the 8th day. So when we look at this and we're talking about learning, we're not necessarily learning a new thing. We're learning a new way because everything's been there. It's been invented. So how do we get that where it's like, look, how do I consume the content that works for me to get me past this moment so I can get into success? So what does that look like for you when you're working with people? Or maybe, you know, something that you've put in your book to say, hey, how do we get past this so we have the success? So we're having more of a creative, unique experience because you can go get it on AI somewhere else. What does that look like for people?
You know, so the book was 3 years ago, and this probably did not get there necessarily, but the whole idea of the book is the springboard to get me that bridge to me to learn even more. But what comes to mind immediately when you're talking about the story of other people, I love quotes. And Oscar Wilde said one that I'll never forget. I've read it, and it's one of those when it was burned in my etched in my memory forever. And it's so simple: is be yourself because everyone else is taken. And it's like when we stop trying to sound like someone else, I think that trying to sound like someone else is really a reflection of lack of self-confidence. It's trying to say, you know, Tony Robbins is so much bigger. Well, let me use him. It's an excuse of let me put him in a spotlight, put me aside, because we were hiding from, I don't have enough. That's telling everyone out there, hey, I'm not important enough. My story is not big enough. Whatever it is, you know, I'll just rather replace it with someone who I think is bigger. Well, here's the thing that I learned from, as Donna said, that we've mentioned already, right? She said something that's very clear. It's like, Edwin, if you're ever going to speak, you know what? If you're afraid that people are going to judge you, get over it, because you know what? They will. They are. So get over it. Don't worry about what people are going to think. Let them think what they think. It's not your job to convince people. It's your job to simply put yourself out there as best you can. This is who I am, and this is what I can do, and let that resonate with people, because people are looking for a transformation. They're looking for a new idea, and you're going to speak to the community of you. I don't know if you've ever been to New York before, Nicole. So there's this place, I've been there many times. It's called Times Square. Times Square is the only place I think in the planet where you can put about 5 million people in about a 4 square block and be overstimulated, like in the movies, like those sci-fi movies or you know, space movies, whatever, that they travel to a city and there's a gazillion neon signs blinking and billboards and all that stuff. That's New York Times Square. Times Square, New York, exactly like that, with like 1 million people in this teeny tiny block. You're literally bumping shoulder to shoulder with people. If I were to put you in there, Nicole, with 1 million people and scream at the top of my lungs, hey, Michelle, Hey, Susan, would you be listening? No.
No way.
But if someone says, hey, Nicole, at the top of the lungs, you're like, hey, who's calling me? That's what that is. That's you calling someone's name and among millions. You're going to be speaking to a specific person or group of people, and that's who your audience is going to be. So we tend to get too hung up on, oh, there's too many people out there. Who's going to listen to me? Yada, yada, yada. No, speak. Your story is going to match the people that are going to be drawn to it, but it has to be you. People are going to be drawn to what you went through. They already know about Tony Robbins. You mentioned someone that I know very, very well in Profit First, Mike McAllowitz. I've known him for almost 20 years. He's been to my house. He lives like 2 hours from me. A phenomenal, amazing, amazing person. But Michael is Michael. And Michael has really done, he's a great, awesome example of really just establishing himself of being his voice. The one thing that I will insert here, Nicole, is that we have to be careful as, you know, like you talked about the pandemic. That's something that many of us are very, very familiar with. Those of us are old enough, of course we are, to know the impact of all that. Well, fast forward a few more years later of what's happening now, there's this little weird thing that perhaps you may have heard of called AI. So one thing about AI, I always say, you know, AI to me is like a roller coaster with a seatbelt. I use it very, 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 very carefully. You cannot, and I don't want to knock it. I just want to say you have to be very careful because it ties directly into what you're saying about our voice. I think too many people are running to AI. Give me an answer to this problem. And it's going from what I call the voice of one, which is your own voice, to the voice of none, zero. Because if you don't harness it correctly, all you're doing is taking all these voices from so many experiences that this internet is grabbing all over and blending them into one single word, into like almost like a soup, so to speak. And it takes away from your personality. Use tools like that instead of to hide, to enhance your voice. Ideas that, how does this relate to me? Oh, here's an idea. This is something I can bring. I can go deeper in this direction, but it relates to you, your experience. People want to hear what you have gone through. They want to hear how you overcame something, because there's, and I think more than ever, there's clearly a desire for deeper connection, a desire for deeper solutions, a desire for more humanity than ever. It might not seem that way, but it's out there. And you just cannot be afraid of just saying, I'm going to hide, because the more you hide, you cannot keep yourself a best kept secret. You have to get out there and put yourself out there. This is who I am. This is what I've been through. This is how I can help you. And unless you do that, you're not going to know who your audience is. You're not going to know where to get started. So yeah, just be yourself. You got to stop being afraid. Just get over yourself, because not everyone's going to like you, but the people that need to listen to you will listen to you.
That's okay, because you're not going to be everybody's flavor, right?
Exactly.
You know, not everybody's going to wait in that McDonald's line at the drive-through. Maybe
Yep.
there's a Taco Bell next
Yep.
door. Maybe there's a 5-star restaurant you want to get out, or maybe there's just a Walmart. You're like, I just want to walk around, grab some food, maybe take a minute, sit down outside, eat in the car, you know, listen to some music. You're not everybody's flavor. And yes, get over it. They're going to judge you. That's what we do. There needs to be discernment, because if we put everybody on the same level at all times, there's no differential. And you know, these big gurus are sharing with you, coaches and consultants are sharing with you a framework. I share a framework. I share a blueprint. When I assess my customers, my clients who are joining me, I need to assess, you know, if they're doing a workshop, maybe someone's coming in with me to do a master class, some type of affiliation. Maybe someone's doing a summit. I've got to give them a blueprint of what it looks like, a foundation. I don't need them to talk to like me. I don't need them to do everything, but I do use, you know, give them an outline. Here's the path you want to take. The words, the tone, and the style are all you. I'll be here in the background being the Wizard of Oz and toggling the buttons and pulling the switches and doing all the doohickeys and editing the video. That's what I'm here for, the support. But I'm not looking at having that person do everything that I do. So we need to have that uniqueness. AI is just here to help. It is a support, right? Just look at it, ladies, like the support bra that it is. It's the Spanx of the world. You're not supposed to talk about it. You're just supposed to know that it looks good and it's right for you. You need the support out there. So let's do that. And yes, when that message is there, the message is clear and you're not in your junk, it comes out better. And what does it have to do? And let's look at that. When you're looking personally at your delivery and your stuff's, you're in your monkey mind and you're kind of working on your blueprint and your goals of where you want to make money, how you want to make money. You're looking at every 10 weeks, or you're looking at every quarter. How are you looking at that? And when are you putting it down? So if you're in that muck, how do you move forward? You are the face of your brand. When you're talking to people, even in a conversation, hey, Nicole, what does this have to do with my business? What does this have to do with speaking? So in this podcast, in and of itself, note to self as you're watching this is in real time. And you know, I've had to mention that to some guests, and some guests kind of understand that. It has to have a focus for the audience. And this is why if you're doing a podcast, it's not let's just have a conversation. What is the focus for your audience? So your audience can go, hey, what's the takeaway from here? What do I need to do? Yeah, I need to meditate. Yeah, I need to have more water. Okay, check, check, check. What is the deep reality of taking this bold action to talking about business, getting on a podcast, getting a network for people? What are some steps that people really can take? Maybe like one right now, because we all think about it. Everybody's got their journal, whether they use it or not. That's a whole nother thing. What are the next few things when they're actually on the stage or in the conversation before they step on the stage, turn on the camera? What are some things that we really need to look at to establish the connection, not only to us, to our brand, to our business, but the connection to the audience? What are some bold actions that people can take?
I think first of all, a lot of things like I speak about the whole mind heart thing is mindset. When you're going through, whenever you're gonna be present, is that very first and foremost, be present. I heard in a preaching once, perhaps you've heard of TD Jakes. He said something that's very funny, really got to me one day. He's very kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of guy, and he just screamed at the top of his lungs one day, really kind of put his foot down, and Jesus, I'll never forget. He says, "Everybody has a story, baby. You got to know how to take a licking and keep on ticking. Everybody's gonna have something to deal with. Everybody has something that they're dragging on. Everybody's having a flat tire or whatever it be, or a headache. It's just knowing that you are not the only one. How can I overcome this? How can I be my best, show up as my best self in this moment? And more importantly, not let it be the whole, drag me down or be upset about it. Turn it into a teaching moment.
Right.
You don't have to tell the whole nitty-gritty, details of the TMI, the too much information, perhaps something general, but say, use it as a teaching moment. And people, that's what people are gonna be able to grab to. What? Oh, this is a human being. Oh, you go through that too. Okay. Oh, I can overcome that. Just showing up. And the thing about it is, more important, Nicole, I'm going to share a story with you real quick that I just did a podcast earlier that just blew my mind. You got to be there no matter what. So when you said about the golf clap, it reminded me of this. So I did an email blast to my community about a week and a half ago, but it just resonated with me so deep that I was like, you know what, I have to go deeper with this, and I have to do a whole podcast on this. And it was titled "The Man That Sang to No One." So the story, it is a true story. So when I met my wife, she's from Mexico. She's been here almost her whole life, but we weren't engaged yet. Really got really attached to her family. They really welcomed me in. And we were on vacation in Mexico, right across the border from El Paso, Texas there. And we went to this really famous restaurant. It's no longer there, sadly, but a really, really famous restaurant. And they always had live music. So here's a guy up there. There's like 2 or 3 other people. One guy, I remember, there's a big bass going on and him singing his heart out, But what got my attention was, as soon as the song was over, his exact words were, "Thank you. Thank you for your applauses. Thank you for your applauses. Thank you so much." But guess what, Nicole? Not one single person was applauding.
Oh, gosh.
That's what got my attention. It's like, what's wrong with this guy? And he'd go and sing the next song and sing his heart out. And then start, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, your applause." I really thought that was so funny. Until 25 years later, I never left my mind. Talk about how life, the universe works, the lessons out there. 25 years later, I realized, oh, wait a minute, there's a lesson in this. And it's this. Are you willing to go on stage and sing your heart out and do your best, even when no one's going to applaud you?
Yeah, 100%.
You have to, that's the thing. You have to, that's the thing. You have to tell yourself, will I do this? If no one, even if no one's acknowledging me or listening, because the truth of the matter is when you start at the beginning, if you're right at the beginning, day one, probably the only person who's going to listen to you is your own echo chamber, but you got to start somewhere. You cannot jump the stage and be like, we've talked a lot about, Tony Robbins has come up a few times. You can't just come up there and say, hey, and everybody's going to come rushing to you, fill a 100,000 seat stadium and come listen to you. No. It just doesn't happen unless you landed a plane on the Hudson. I mean, come on, what are the chances of that, And 1 in a million.
Right.
But your story starts somewhere. It starts somewhere. So you got to get over of the someday and start today and start right now. A list. Okay, and this year I want to make one connection with someone. I want to find a coach. I'm going to find a community. I found you through Speaker's House. I found Speaker's House through my podcast coach. I found my podcast coach through a community I was in before of the late Dan Miller, who passed away 3 years ago. That worked the 40 days to work like you love. So you see that connections, I connected those dots backwards. I can connect them backwards, but we can't connect them forward. So we gotta stop. You gotta stop trying to jump ahead.
Right.
Start right now. Find something somewhere, anything. Go on Facebook, communities, and the dots are gonna start connecting. I could have never had found you, have not been present these other places and heard of these things to finally get to where we are here and where it'll go moving forward. So we have to stop just crossing our arms, kind of like waiting for the universe to. The universe isn't going to give you the answers unless you ask the questions and take the action. It's not. That's not how it works. You have to move forward, whatever the universe looks like to you. But you have to move. You have to move. You have to believe in yourself. Don't have to be. If you don't believe in yourself, no one can believe for you. It has to start with you first. And if you don't believe in yourself, you can have all the cheerleaders you can have. It's not going to work, because I've made the mistake in the past of people just really much higher and more smarter and more successful than me. That just the difference between me and them is time. That's all it really is. Tell me, wow, you're going to really do well, and I just poo-pooed all. I was like, nah, I don't feel like this and that. I'm like, and then I realized, you know what? I just took a compliment instead of saying thank you. I pushed it aside and like I won't ever do that anymore. So when I'm told, hey, you got some good things coming, you're getting there, trust yourself. Thank you, even if I don't feel it. Thank you, because your emotions and follow motions. So even if you want to food more like that energy, even if it's not there, just it'll come. But really think of, yes, I'm going somewhere. Be your own cheerleader first and foremost, because you have to be there for you. You have to live with yourself every day. You have to look at yourself in the mirror every day. So get comfortable with yourself. Be nice to yourself. Stop beating yourself up so much, because guess what? If you make that mistake, I'm sure people made that mistake and then some. You're not the only one that makes mistakes. I love the expression that says, there's a saying that says, learn from other people's mistakes because you can't make them all yourself. That's a good thing.
You're piggybacking. I love that, because you got to piggyback off other people. And that's why I tell people all the time, it's like, I have a sense of humor about it. Hey, yeah. I made this mistake. Don't do it. Right. And then the other thing is, it happens. Get over it. Your mom's not here to clean up after you. She shouldn't be in here. You should kick them out of the Zoom room. But yes, we have to make mistakes. We have to have that feeling. It's that cycle if you're repeating it and you hear it enough. But, definitely, what is a success? Is it a success? Are you marking it as a success? I see people all the time like, oh, I'm here and I'm going to ditch everything. Well, there are some things we do that you got to be in it for the long haul.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to make changes along the way. And if you just come in and you're just like, well, I'm just going to get rid of it all, I'm going to burn it all, then, crazy. You're not doing yourself any good. You still have to play the long game while you play the short game, but you click the link. And that's the most important thing. When I said, hey, I've got a podcast, I want to talk about this. Let's get together. We connected so well on the call. And it's like, here you are today showing up, being on the call, grabbing the mic when that opportunity is there? And how many times are you saying, hey, I could just grab this mic. I'm going to click this link. I'm going to connect with this person. We're going to go live. We're going to do the thing. Let's do it. And that's just it. How many things are you leaving on the table? Are you leaving money on the table? So let's talk about it. Where do people find you? We're just about done. It's a great podcast. I'm going to give you the last words here too, because I want people to just, when you're done with the podcast, if you haven't already, if you're not listening on your phone and moving around, get out there and actually do something. Where do people find you? And talk about a little bit more about your book, where they're going to find it. The links are in the chat for everybody, and what's going to happen when people read this book.
So you can find me at edwinsoler.com, and we were joking a little bit before we went live. That last name is Soler with an E, not an A, although I love the solar energy, you know, it's just a play of words there to bring, I want to bring the energy. I want to bring it to edwinsoler.com with a Soler with an E. My book is basically edwinsoler.com/book. If you want to find a book, there's an Amazon link there, you can find it. But the best way to connect with me, I have a gift for you. You go to the same link, right? edwinsoler.com/gift. There's a gift waiting for you there. 3 ways to know that you are ready to get started and start achieving your dreams. Make those dreams come true. That is the easiest, fastest start that you can get. It's a free guide to you that you have. And from there is a little bit of information, how we can stay in touch and continue the conversation. And you can find my links to my podcast there and everything else in my socials and to keep moving. So my book is right behind me, right there. Shoulders, I'm trying to get a mirror here with a coach. And let me just grab it real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell people a little bit more about your book, because all the links are in the chat. They can click all the links. So tell them more about your book.
So it's a book. It's an easy read. It's my very first testimonial I got was from my podcast coach that I ended up working with. Really loved the testimony. He said, Edwin, you know, he travels a lot. It's like, I read that book on a plane. It's that short. It's not like 10 pages. It's almost 100, but it's a short, quick read. And it gets right to the point. And it talks about different stories about closing that 18-inch gap, the heart and the mind. The book starts out with a true story of a swimmer that tried to swim from the California coast of Catalina Island. And she gave up in the fall. She swam 15 hours and was so tired, exhausted. And the rules of the swim were, there were 2 boats or different doctors, and her mom was there in a whole bit. The rule was they could not tell her at all where she was. That's the only thing. She had to figure this out herself. And after 15 hours, a big fog came. She couldn't see anything. She gave up. It's like, I can't do it anymore. She got in a boat. As soon as she got in a boat, guess what she saw? The shoreline. That's how close she was. So my premise was, had she had a life coach, had I been in that boat with her, I would have gotten her to that finish line. Happy ending is she went back and she actually did the swim the second time and successfully completed it. But that's an analogy I use. You know, you're cramping up, there's a fog there, and you're just there, you're just already so close. But you just can't make it. That's what I talk about, the 18 inches, that those it seems like miles and miles, but no, it's only 18 inches from your heart and your mind. Some people kind of take it so literal. Like, I had someone literally took out a ruler one day. There's really 18 inches. I'm like, it's a metaphor. It's close enough. It's just close enough. But that's the whole idea. And I just go in different stories of how to overcome that and and it's really just a start. Like anything, you can't possibly cram everything into a podcast, a book, or it's just too much information, but it's a start. It's to get the conversation started, get the emotions, the things flowing, the possibilities flowing, and just connect with me and they go even further. And of course, that was 3 years ago that I wrote that book. A lot has happened in 3 years that I can help you even more. But it's my very first book, and I'm so proud of it. And I'm actually working on my second one now, which is going to be a tremendous undertaking. It's my memoir, where I'm going to bring my story of what I've had to overcome at a much deeper level, where I'm going to get a lot of details of my life, which I didn't do in this first one, to bring to an audience of really just helping them overcome. Because as something you have not mentioned, if it's okay mentioning real quick, Nicole, that you mentioned before, is domestic violence. I grew up around that my entire life with my father and my mother, separate, not even them together, because they divorced before I could even have an early memory. Wow. But I saw them both go through that in front of my very own eyes my whole life. and it's something that has affected me deeply, and it's something that I want to be able to help people, among many other things, find a voice to find the pain that they've been through, and not use the pain as a springboard to move forward, and not as an excuse to pull back.
100%.
And then take the action and close that gap and keep moving forward. It's all on you. You can hear an amazing podcast that Nicole's bringing. I can speak to you till the sunrise and sunset. At the end of the day, it falls on you and me on moving forward and doing something with that. So that's what I'm about, helping close that gap, get the dreams going. I want to partner with you, be on your side, and help you get those, fulfill those dreams.
I love that. All the links are in the chat, guys. Go connect with Edwin and Soler, right? He's solar paneled. He's got the energy out there, you guys, and it's the sun. You know, you want that energy. And if you're looking at real words without making pretend words, they all have a meaning. There's an edification there, and that will tell you all about the person. So start to look at that. Find somebody that's detached that can tell you that shoreline is right there. Had they told that person, I think they did a disservice by not telling her. But you need a guide. You need to set yourself up for success. And that's what you're going to do with Edwin. All right, guys, we are done with the show. This is it. We're getting ready to go out. We got the commercial. You know what? Get with Edwin. You know, and let's change your life. Let's bring a better voice to the stage. That's basically what we need to do. All right, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.